Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you had a good day so far, and thank you for being so accommodating in terms of having to switch the schedule to 3:30 today. But at regular times, we will do as per our class schedule, which is from 2:30 to from 1:30 to 2:25. Hopefully, 1:30 to 2:25, we will do more of a lecture format, and then from 2:30 to 3:15, time for you to do the lab or some of the assignment or exercises as well. And hopefully we will be able to do some of that today. Now, if we don't have the opportunity to do any of the lab today in Teams, that you will have to find times outside of the class hours so that you can do the labs. And there are two. One of them is practice. So if you are not familiar with heuristic evaluation, if you've never done heuristic evaluation, I highly encourage you to do the first lab. We will do an exercise today. I will do a live exercise with you in class. But if you don't, or if you're not familiar with a heuristic evaluation, I definitely suggest that you go through the readings and you go through the lab practice, and it will help you also for the assignment as well. And make sure that you actually definitely do the labs, and at least the lab that is not the practice one for the week, and you go through the material as well. So thank you for coming and thank you for attending. I see that we have several students. I do know that this is these are optional in terms of coming or not. You can choose to work on your assignment or lab time as during those times, or you can come to the session. It's really up to you, but I really appreciate people coming in. We can actually make it interactive as well as we go through the lesson. So if there are some questions as we go through the material, you can feel free to use the chat. You can come voice. If there are any questions now, you can type them in. You can ask me about anything that we discussed yesterday. I'll be more than happy to answer. Or you can use a course message as well and email me, and I will do my best to email within 24 to 48 hours. In terms of the team, so there was someone noted that one of the assignments mentioned 3 people per team. I believe that I've removed the constraint of 3. It should really be 3 to 4. So if you have a teams of 4, that's okay. If you have a team of 3, it's better, because really this is usability testing, and you're going to do so 3 people meant that you would be an observer, you would have a moderator, and you would play the role of a participant. So if there are 3 in a team, that means equally you'll be able to do any of the roles. But that does not mean that if you're 4, you're not going to be able to manage that. But you will have to make sure that everybody has to at least a chance to do any of the roles, like the moderator, the note taker, and the observer sessions or your role-playing practices. The pair of individuals, so really that is just meant for you to find a buddy or find a partner that that you can coach, you can have insight, you can connect with. Maybe once in a week, you can talk about the class and maybe challenges, how it's going for you. Maybe maybe you can help them, maybe they can help you. And then it will also help for some of the role play where we do have role plays. And then it will it's going to be someone that you can actually support, talk to. We don't have classes in-person classes, so knowing that there's someone that you can count on or you can reach out for the class and talk about the content and usability testing, I think will be good. Now, this will also help you that to actually for the next topic. I see that there's some question on the chat. I will come back to it. The weekly topics. So every week we have a topic. Every week we will have a specific topic that we will discuss. Let me just share with you what do I mean by the weekly topic. I will share Blackboard. If you go to Blackboard and here we go. If you go to Blackboard and you go to week 1, then you will see the topics, the modules. So we are in module formal, the formal usability testing or usability testing. There are different types of usability testing, but we're in the formal usability testing module at this point. Week 1, we are in course intro and heuristic evaluation. And really the intent of heuristic evaluation here is more of a refresher because most of you have done heuristic evaluation. Next week, we will do the intro to usability testing. We are going to go and dive in usability testing and what is usability testing in more details. So I need a pair of, as I said, I'd like for you to pair with a coach so you have a partner. If I could have a team, a pair to volunteer to introduce the topic of the week next week, which will be introduction to usability testing. So for our Wednesday session, I would need someone or a pair to actually introduce the usability testing. And that is a very, very short introduction presentation of what usability testing is. And I just need one pair of individual. It's optional, voluntary. You don't have to if you don't want to. Believe me, I will have enough content to cover, but I want to give you a chance to just step outside of your zone and then introduce what the topic is. You have 5 minutes, 10 minutes maximum, 5 minutes, really goes fast, so that you can introduce what usability testing is. It can be a video, it can be a text, it could be 2 notes on a slide, it can be verbal. You can just tell us what you've learned, what is usability testing, maybe why we do usability testing, but it has to fit in 5 minutes. So I don't want you to get stressed over this. It should be fun. And if I do have a pair of students that want to come and volunteer, please do. And how can you do this? Where I will go is we have a discussion board. We have a discussion board, and I have created a specific topic for that discussion board. Let me just show you that special topic as well. So if you go to discussion board, then in the Blackboard for our class, I have created a topic, sign up for weekly topic, discovery. So this is where you can create a thread and say, we want to sign up, give me your names, and then I will know who's going to be presenting on that week. And if I don't have volunteer, it's okay, but this is an opportunity to explore a topic, introduce a topic, and you will see 5 minutes goes fast. And then if I do have volunteer, 5 minutes of the sessions on Wednesday, you will introduce the topic. Someone asked, are we going to be marked on this? No, this is not being marked. This is really just for fun, and it's not going to be marked. But again, if you end up spending a bit more time on looking for a topic, you may actually know more and become better with that topic, which may help you overall in your assignments or through the semester or actually at work as well. So there's no specific mark for the introducing the topic on a weekly basis. But it's if you want and if you feel that this is something you would like to do, I invite you to do so. Okay? So today's class is at 3:30. It's an exception. The class normal time for the class will be 12. Let me just make sure, because I have so many classes, I don't want to induce you in error. So we are meeting at 1:30 on Thursday. From 1:30 to 3:15 is the time that we are actually meeting. So 1:30 to 3:15, and again on the Blackboard, the regular times are on the course schedule. And today was an exception. I had a conflict. I had a schedule conflict. But normally we are going to meet at 1:30, and then we're going to do 1 hour of async kind of lecture. And then my goal is to give you the last hour, which is hour 3 of time for me to be around, be available online on standby for that hour. For anybody who may have questions or anybody who wants to book some time with me, or if you want me to help you with your lab or your assignment, then you will know that I'm available in that last hour. But if you do need to reach out to me at any point, use the course message over the course of the week, and I'll be happy to assist you and help you. Okay? So are there any questions about team size, the pair of individuals, and the regular time? So and if not, we're going to move on. Which mood are you in today? So again, I thought I would survey you and ask you which mood you are, and I think you had a good time. You enjoy using the on fire. Wow, we have someone on fire. You know you can use also the tool, right? From the whiteboard, you should have access to the text, and you could actually or circle. You can use a pencil and you can say, I'm on fire in circle. So look at the tool at the top. You guys should have availability, should be able to draw. You should say, I'm angry. Awesome. We have someone, this is me, who's going on fire. I'm just playing. Hey, great. So yes, we're getting towards the end of the week, and wow, someone has even made big pride. Awesome. So glad to hear. Worried. So if there's anything I can do to help you about being worried and remove some of the worrisome, I'll be more than happy to help and assist. So if it's related to the class, please do. I do know that you have more than one class. I know you have very busy schedule, but if there's anything I can do to alleviate and help, please feel free to reach out to me individually, and then I'll be happy to assist. So let's go in. Okay, so we are here to talk about usability testing. So I think we've talked enough about the structure and what the course will be structured and some of the housekeeping and logistic. So we are going to talk more next week about what is usability testing. We're going to go a little bit more in depth. But really the intent here is what is usability testing as more of a refresher, as a little introduction to what usability testing really is. And for those of you that don't know, I know little about usability testing. So basically, when we do a usability test, there are many ways that we can do a usability testing. But the main intent, the main purpose of a usability testing is really to find out if users are able to use the software or use the web, use the mobile app, use the kiosk, use any product that you've designed. If they are able to use it with no issues, no challenges, and it's done by observation. So if you're doing in person or remote usability testing, if you're doing moderated usability testing, typically what you will have is you will have the user, just as we have on screen. You will have the little user, the little guy, who's going to be in front of your computer, and you're going to give them tasks. You're going to ask him to do something specifically about your website. You, as the observer, you're actually going to be looking at what he's doing, and then he's probably going to be telling you as well. He's going to be talking. You're going to ask him to talk. You're going to ask him to tell you what is happening at that moment for him. What is going through their mind, what it is that they're looking, what they're trying to do. So you're either going to be taking notes, or you're going to be sitting still, and you're going to be watching them. You're going to do little interruption. Your goal is to see how they're maneuvering through the app or through the website, and then make note of any challenges that you think that maybe you want to explore with them a little bit further in the session. That is also a possibility. Meanwhile, you're going to have someone who's going to be taking notes of comments, any obstacles, anything that the observer may hear or may notice, and then he's going to do that for all participants. What's unique about usability testing, it's one-on-one. You are one facilitator, so one observer in front of a computer. There's no one else. But you're there, you're actually there. Or if you're not there and it's unmoderated, which we're also going to learn about, but it's always still a user, one user who's actually using the computer and the technology. So that is very different than focus groups. So you may have heard of focus groups. You may have heard of people, usually it's 6 to 9 people in a room, and you ask them their perception and their feelings and their intent. But the beauty with usability testing, it's based on observation. So you're observing them, you're doing little to interrupt them, but you can definitely use usability testing to ask questions, clarify questions, or ask them to do something maybe deeper to what you intentionally thought. But maybe you will discover something as you go through the process with them. So I'm not going to talk more about usability testing. We are going to go in more depth next week, but that is really what usability testing is all about. And I think there was a hand raised. I don't know if someone else has a question. There are multiple things or research that you can do, and some of you have taken the research courses in year 1, year 2, and then again, depending on where you are in your program. But there's more than one research when it comes to finding out if the users are actually using the software appropriately. But and then you can there's different ways that you can look at which tool is better. Look at usability testing, which is in here. So we can see that it is on the side where we have a smaller, so we're dealing with a small population, and we are actually observing as well. And we're not so much asking. What is really, really unique about usability testing is we can gather a lot of insights from the user with a small number. And why is this? It's because we are actually observing them. This is how we can get away from having a small number. And we will learn why and at which point and how many users versus if you want to find out emotions, opinions, if you want to survey people's opinion and whether or not they will actually maybe use the software or not, are people happy or satisfied, or the attitude, if you're trying to do attitude research, you're going to have to use a lot of questionnaire and surveys. You're going to need to have a large number. Same thing if you do use optimization or use of optimization testing, A/B testing. We're talking big numbers. Testing and with usability testing, you don't need to have a large number. So we say 3 to 5 user. It's really hard to write with this, but I could probably type in 3 to 5 users, and you're observing, and you will start finding big challenges with your usability testing very early on. So we're going to learn why, and then the power of small numbers for usability testing further down in this class. How will usability testing apply with assignment in the class? Would we screen record and audio record our experience? So yes, there will be recording. You're going to be using probably Zoom if you want, or Collaborate. You're going to be recording the sessions. We're going to go through the process of how we're going to do this, but you'll be recording sessions. You're going to actually, it's all going to be remote because everybody's at home. So you're going to be recording the sessions. The participant's going to be on the cam. You're going to see their face. They're going to be sharing the screen, and you will see where they're going. And you'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to observe where they go, what they do. You're going to hear them. So think of me as the participant right now. I am like the participant, and you're actually observing. You're observing me doing things on screen, and you're observing me flipping through the presentation. And I will mimic with you a heuristic evaluation, but you will see that it's very similar as well. So very good question, Lillian. But yes, we're going to use the tool and technology to do that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Wow, we have a lot of people in the session. That's great. So what triggers testing? How do we know that it's time to do a usability testing? So I'm going to flip back. How do we know that we need to do a usability testing? Would anybody have a bit of an opinion or a sense of why? Why would we be testing a usability testing? The reasons that would trigger us to even think that it's time we should do a usability testing. Again, we're in class. This is a safe environment. We're learning. I don't expect you to know all these answers, so take a chance. Yes, so we want to look for opportunities or errors. Absolutely. Why would we care? Why would we want to look for opportunities or errors? Yes, to solve problems on early stages. Absolutely. When building, yes, absolutely. So if you are building, then, and you, let's say, I think in an ideal world, you haven't built anything yet, but maybe you have wireframes, maybe you have paper prototype. So you're going to learn that you can do it, and you can do a usability testing with pretty much anything, any artifacts that you have. You do not need to have even a prototype. It all depends on what it is that you're trying to do. I have done usability testing with wireframes, paper testing. I was actually mimicking the computer. It all depends what it is that you're trying to do. But the earlier, so if you haven't built anything, the earlier the better, because it's a lot easier to make changes to a wireframe than make changes to something that has been built. So we know that we definitely should do usability testing very early on, and probably iterative as well. So we could probably do 1 or 2 or 3 days of testing, but iterative. 1 day of testing, and then you find issues, then you solve, you change, you make updates to your product or your wireframes. Then you go on day 2 of testing. Then you test day 2 has a revised version of wireframe. Then you find new challenges. Then you come back and you make some changes. Then you go back on day 3 of changes with some new revision of your wireframes. So at that point, you would think and you would hope that you would have a lot less issues or challenges that you found on day 1 in day 3. You will feel a lot more confident. And all of that could do it on paper. You could do paper prototyping if you want, or you could do a prototype as well. We will learn why and how we can do this. So Liliana has mentioned improving the experience. Yes. So we don't always build. We have a lot. In fact, there are a lot of websites that exist, right? There are a lot of sites that are already built. People are using. There are a lot of mobile apps that are being used out there. So what happens? We are in the different stage of our journey with those products. We are here at this point where we are trying to optimize. We have web analytics as well at this point. Wow, that was my nice drawing for today. Let's see. So we have optimization. Maybe we want to optimize an experience. How do we know that we want to optimize an experience? Because the data is telling us. We have data telling us that maybe this experience is not optimal. Why? Because we have a poor conversion rate. So hopefully you have a buying flow, you have a purchase flow. So you have a flow online, you have visitor, and you're seeing the data, and then suddenly, for some reason, you're seeing that a lot less people are buying your product compared to before. So that would trigger a bunch of questions. Why? Why is this happening? And it's happening consistently and persistently for a period of time. It's not just a one day. It's not day 1, day 2, day 3. It's been maybe 30 days that you notice that your conversion is going down. So that would be a bit of an alarm. So you would do a lot of investigation, and maybe at some point you're going to say, we don't know. We don't really know why this is happening and what is happening. So at that point, you may want to do some usability testing. Should be testing as much as you can throughout the design process. Absolutely. We should be testing as often as we can, and yeah. But then we have to see how much time do we have, how much budget, how much money. Do we always have to have a budget and money to do usability testing? No, not necessarily. And we'll talk about why do we need and why don't we need at times to have a budget. But there is a lot of flexibility when it comes to usability testing, and it can be as advanced as you want, as minimalist. At the end of the day, you want to get some answers as, is the product that I've designed optimal for my users? How you get to that will be up to you. But you're going to learn in this class, what can I do, depending on what my budget is, depending on how much time I might have. What can I do and what is available to me to get insights from real user based on observation? That is really the core purpose of usability testing. So we talk about what would be some of the triggers. What would trigger you to do usability testing? So we've already had a few comments. We want to improve the experience. How do we know that the experience needs to be improved? Maybe we saw a piece of data. So we have a piece of data that is telling us that we are suffering. We're losing conversions. We're losing sales, online sales. Maybe we're not getting as many people to actually go through the next step in the buy flow. Maybe a lot of people are abandoning our payment page and we don't know why. Maybe we've heard feedback. Maybe we've got customer feedback, customer survey, and hopefully if you're in this business and you are in charge of a digital website, you're not, you have a feedback mechanism that you can gather insight from the customer. So at Sunwing, I had on my, which would get a lot of visits on a daily basis. And which will be the final step. So the payment step usually on e-commerce is the last step. You would think people are very committed and they're very serious. They want to buy. Mind you, a lot of people will go as far as they can in the buy flow and drop because they want to see what they need to provide. They also want to know if the price, what the final and the real final price is before they actually commit to their payment. But you will know how much people usually abandon and how many people continue. But if you feel that your abandonment is higher than what you've seen before, if you feel that your abandonment is probably higher than what the industry is, and that is a difficult one, that will vary per business and per industry. But the safest piece of data is your own data. So if you feel that your conversion could probably be improved, then and you have a survey, and on your survey at that specific step, people are telling you that they're having difficult technical challenges, but you don't know what the technical challenges are, and they're not really able to express that to you, and you don't have reports or ways to know what the challenges are, then maybe at that point you do want to do some usability testing on that specific step, that specific page as well. You have the luxury to decide what area am I going to be focusing on for my test, and which flow, which area. Now, how do I decide which flow and which area? Usually you want to find the flow that has the most visits, the flow that brings most money to your website. So if you think of any e-commerce website, it's going to be the purchase flow, right? So it's going to be also the last step of that flow. And then you're going to work backward. So in a lot of websites that I've managed, I would always start from the payment page and I would work. There's no point to send a lot of people to the payment page if the payment page will have obstacles. Then you fix what you feel that you could do everything on the payment page. And then you work backward. You go to the previous step. And then your goal is to get to the first step of the flow and really do the optimization. That's the only way you will get to a better conversion. Just to give you a bit of a sense of volume, at Sunwing, I had 300,000 visits a day on my website. And 80% of them would actually go through the purchase flow, to the buy flow. And then a percentage of those would go to the payment step. So we're talking thousands of people that abandon the payment page on a daily basis, 4, 5, 10,000, maybe even more. So those are high volume. So every customer or every little percentage of increase will give you a huge return on investment. So this is very, very serious business, especially if you manage e-commerce. It's business that you're losing. And you don't need to spend more money on those customers. They are coming to you. So, and the chances are you've already paid a lot of money on PPC to get those customers. So usability testing can be measured. You can show the ROI and you can show the benefits and you can use the business and you can use your sales. And every little improvement will make a big difference. So the main trigger is that you have a piece of data or you have survey that tells you that your business is suffering or your customer are suffering and they're having a challenge. Are there any questions about triggers, or anybody has different triggers, different reasons to actually do usability testing? It can also be because the business wants to get insights. They feel that they like to see users in action using your website. You may, as well, as a usability expert or designer or UX, maybe you want to do usability testing because you want to show to the business the value of good UX and good usability. You want to expose them to real people using the software. You'll be amazed that a lot of the developers or a lot of people that actually build software have never seen software. And for all of us who build a software, it looks so easy and so obvious. We're so close to it. We're so biased. So the goal of usability testing is come in being unbiased. It's come to really look at it from a user expertise, from a user point of view, and forget about everything that we know about our own business, forget everything that we know about our product, and see users, real customer or real prospect using a product. And you will see that sometimes the smallest thing will cause them the biggest challenges that you would have never thought could even be a problem. And vice versa. There might be things that you think that maybe are an issues, but they're not. They're not a big issues, and maybe they're not as big as maybe something else that you will discover. So the usability testing will at least give you a sense of the real issues that users is having, and because you will know because you've seen it. You will know because they've told you, and you will know because you really understood what it is that they were trying to do. And you will see where the gaps are between their expectation and what you've delivered to some very, very fine details. So it will tell you what is happening and why are people leaving and why people are abandoning. And it will tell you if the flow is a good flow, a good experience, or a bad experience. And you'll be able to go into solutioning as well. But when you do usability testing, you may not know at that particular point what the solution is. And that's the other thing that you will find when you do usability testing. The goal is not to find solutions when you're doing testing. It's to identify opportunities in error or opportunities to do better. But then at some point, you will have to go back and think of solutions. And then you may have to do some more testing to test your solutions. Another trigger as well for usability testing may very well be that you do A/B testing. So how many people are familiar with A/B testing? Have you ever heard of A/B testing? Awesome. Okay, so A/B testing, A/B testing. For example, let me open up an example. I will show you what A/B testing could do, could be, could do for us. In the simplest way, A/B testing is interested. Let's see. I'm just going to switch back. That's the one. You can make note of this. Optimizely is a tool that you can do A/B testing. It's very powerful. And if you do have a website that you're in charge of, and I think it's good for you to know A/B testing and maybe understand how it's different. So A/B testing is not at all usability testing, but it will be a piece of insight. You may use A/B testing to really understand that there's something that is broken or there's a better experience, but you want to test that new experience with users as well, and you would do usability testing. But A/B testing will help you to see if there's maybe a better version of the experience that you have, and then you would go and do usability testing. But Optimizely will allow you to set up an A/B testing on your website without even talking to a developer or IT. So it's all web-based. It's really, really easy to use. And then it's live on your site, and it's actually comparing two experiences. And so why we call it A and B. A will be your current version. So version A will be your existing experience that that you will have on your website. And then if we think of the original, so original before Optimizely would be version A. And then with Optimizely, think of this version B with the buy now button in red or pink. So what you would do is version A is existing. It's the existing white buy now button. Version B would be your red button. So maybe you've thought, if I change my button to a red button, more people will see it, more people will click, and more people will buy as a result. That would be a hypothesis that you would do. Then you would run an A/B test. So you would say, and this is live, so your red button will be live. You would decide on how many people will see the white button and how many people will see the red button. Maybe you're going to say, I'm going to split 50-50. And this is real life, okay? It will come, and in 50-50 of your traffic. So someone will come to your site, and then the tool will decide. They're going to send them, and it's random. So what you do here is you're actually using a lot of number. It's statistically significant. All the things that often you're going to hear people that will try to challenge you with your research. But here you have high number. It's statistically significant. People are randomly chosen. So you're eliminating, the personal emotions. You're eliminating the people that maybe don't like the price, everybody has a random chance to be able to go to version A or version B. So you're going to send 50% of your traffic to buy now in white. You're going to send 50% of your buy now in red. And what you're going to learn is you may actually see that more people are actually clicking on the buy now red button. And you can set goals. You can say, I'm going to measure how many more people visit or click on the red button. And then according to this picture, they're telling us that they've seen 4 to 4.5 more percent actually clicking, or 4% clicking versus 1% clicking, if that's the way that we've defined it. But you're seeing an improvement. And then quickly, the tool will tell you you have enough visits and you have enough volume to your website to be confident that the red button is actually getting more people to click. And that's as simple as that. So there's nothing more mysterious about A/B testing, and it can also be a very, very good way for you to get some insights as well, that maybe there is a better experience, in fact, for your web. And you can get real data, real life data, and that could be a trigger for you to either make some changes to the existing page live if you want, or maybe you're still going to decide that maybe you want to do some usability testing as well. So maybe the red button versus the white button is not necessarily a good example where you would then go from A/B testing to usability testing. But you may find that in some cases, the A/B testing told you that maybe there's a better experience, but you may want to go further and do some usability testing as well. One doesn't prevent the other. And then you will find that some of the finding in the usability testing maybe actually be new test ideas for A/B testing that you may actually want to test with high volumes in your buy flow and see if you're getting a large improvement. So this is how you can use both. But A/B testing is very powerful, and you may want to read more about it. And it falls in this area. So it's in optimization testing. It's kind of A/B testing. We have large number of people. And I've done that at Sunwing. I've done that at Rogers for about 2 years. That was my only job at Rogers, was to do A/B testing for the buy flow, to people that log in into their account, and do optimization and A/B testing on all of the micro journeys, buying, by paying your bills, signing up for alerts, signing up for email, signing up for bandwidth, your data usage as well, and threshold. So at the end of the day, you need to be comfortable with data. When you think of usability testing, you need to be comfortable with data, because you will be exposed to a lot of data, and then the data will tell you that perhaps you need to do some usability testing as well. Why would we also do usability testing is maybe we want to discover, maybe we do know, we have a sense that there are probably some challenges in our buy flows, but we're not really 100% able to point. And we feel that a usability testing with some users will reveal some areas and maybe some big challenges with some of the concept, or even the model, or the mental model that we've used in our experience that may actually not at all match the customer and the customer that are using our product. So we're going to talk more about usability. Now, you've heard about heuristic evaluations, but before I talk about heuristic evaluation, keep in mind we're going to be going in more depth about usability testing. That's the class. That's the core of the class. But the core intent for today was to quickly give you a bit of an intro. But we're going to go in a lot more depth in the coming days, in the coming weeks. Are there any questions? And then we're going to talk about usability, a heuristic evaluation, and what is a heuristic evaluation? Thank you, Anya. Okay, why do we care about a heuristic evaluation? And I know that some of you have done the courses and have gone in more depth. And we have an assignment about heuristic evaluation. But we are doing a heuristic evaluation to help us set our usability testing for the semester. You are going to pick a website. You're going to pick a website that you want. And my recommendation is to pick a website at this point. And I would probably pick a website that has an e-commerce component. So it's transactional, that you will use for the entire semester for all of the testing that we want to do. That would be easier. And it will start then with the heuristic evaluation. The heuristic evaluation, well, first of all, with our teams, yes. So pretty much all assignments, unless it's mentioned, they are with your teams. And I don't really think that there's anything individual. But if I don't mention that the assignment is done individuals, then it means group. So assignment number 1 is in your groups, but there's a part where I want you to do independently. So assignment number 1, the heuristic evaluation, you have to do your own heuristic evaluation on your own, but you have to come back with your team and discuss it as your team, and you submit as a team. But I'm using the assignment from last sessions as well. So I need to look at the fine details. This first one is due for February 4th, okay? But here's what you need to keep, but yes, it is in team, but there's a piece individual. You have to keep in mind that this heuristic evaluation that you will do with your teams, okay, will guide you for the usability testing. Here's how. If you're not familiar with heuristic evaluation, and let me just put a poll. Okay, I just put a poll. So if we could take a few minutes for those people that are in class to answer, that would be awesome. Okay, so far everybody has done heuristic evaluation, so you've all used, and that's what I've been told, but you never know, right? Some people may not be as familiar, and we are not going to be spending a lot of time in this lecture about heuristic evaluation for that reason. I think in the past there was a lot of time spent, and we're not going to do that again with this class. Good. This is going to be not going to be new knowledge for you. So when we do heuristic evaluation, and there's a practice assignment for this, is you want to get a sense as an expert what could be some of the challenges with the existing website. So we're going to do an exercise together as well. But you're going to pick a website, and then you're going to go through. You're going to go back to the heuristic. There are 10 of them, which you're very familiar. And then you're going to go through the site. You're going to look at it from a user. You're going to think of a user and a user goal. You're going to think of the website. So let's say that you want to think Roots. You want to take Roots Canada's website. Then what can I do on Roots? I could actually buy some clothes. Maybe I want to buy a sweater. Maybe there's a specific sweater I want to buy. So you're going to go through that flow as a user. From the moment that you're going to land on Roots Canada, and then you're going to look at browsing. You're going to browse. You're going to look at the search experience. And then you're going to go through all of the steps. And you're going to be making a bunch of notes of what you're noticing that could actually be a challenge or potential challenges, right? You're going to do that on your own, but on your team of 4 or 5 needs to agree on a website. You're each going to do your part of heuristic, and then you're going to convey and discuss what you found, and then you'll agree on challenges, and then you're going to do a prioritization. This is going to be your preparation for your usability test. Then at the end of your heuristic evaluation, this is what's going to guide you for what you're going to do to build your usability testing. You're going to have, again, set of users. You're going to use the same set of goals, the same set of tasks, the areas you will want to discover with users if these are really challenges, or what else is there that you haven't thought of, or what is not so much of a challenge that you thought maybe would be a challenge. And then you're going to end up with a report that will say, here's what we found about our website. And then these are the challenges that we found that users were having. Maybe you're going to structure it per user goals as well. When you think of it, the stakeholder or the business, they don't know about heuristic evaluation, right? So we're going to learn about how do I structure a report that makes sense to my stakeholder. Your stakeholder will know about buying a sweater at Roots Canada, but he will not be familiar with providing feedback or visibility of system and status, preventing errors. He will not really care about this, but he will want to know, what are you going to do? What should they do now to make sure that people are able to buy? Then you will think of recommendations as well on how to. So we're doing the heuristic evaluation as assignment number 1 to be your starting point for our usability testing. So we're doing it before testing, and that is a good thing. because as an expert now, you have a certain level of experience with the heuristic, and you have a certain level of experience with websites. You use websites, but that's a trick, right? We have so much experience and we're so close to it that we're not really the ideal users. And this is why we're going to do usability testing. We're going to talk and we're going to actually observe the real user using routes or using the sites that you've actually defined, that you thought that you wanted to spend more time as a team. So the first step is for us to look at it from a pair of our lenses, through our lenses, as objectively as we can, using the heuristic. And then that will guide us to our usability testing, which is your main class project. Okay. So when we say the 1 to 2 punch is really we're starting with heuristic evaluation. That eventually will take us to our user. Ultimate goal is find challenges that could actually prevent user to accomplish their user goals. An example of a user goal is actually making a purchase online. Maybe it's to sign up for an account at Roots. Maybe it's to find out, how do I check the status of my order? What is that experience? So you will need to define the user goals. And then you will have to think about what are some of the steps that users actually follow when they actually try to place an order, or when they try to look for the status of their order. And that will be more of the task analysis. So you want to use both. You may use both. You may use a heuristic evaluation before you do your usability testing, or you may want to do your usability testing without doing a heuristic evaluation. But I would say the heuristic evaluation is almost needed. At least you have no choice but look at their site, right? You have to look at the site and identify areas that you think are creating challenges. And our goal is not to have all answers, because this is why you're going to do usability testing as well. But you will have looked at a few things. You will have looked at data. First, if you remember, why would Roots Canada want to do flow? It's probably because they're saying that there's some challenges with conversions. They're noticing that people are not buying as much as they used to buy. Maybe people are dropping off more at the payment page. Maybe people are abandoning more in the buy flow. Maybe they've added a step in the buy flow and they've done no testing. So you're trying to get you want to start with the data as well. It's going to be hard for us to start with the data for the sites that you're going to pick, because you don't have access to their analytics. So we're going to need to make choices. But really, the safest choice at this point for you, you're going to pick a site and you should think of what you think are the most common goals. Or where do you think are the flows that are bringing more money to the business, or saving money to the business? So that's another very important element. We always focus on usability testing for bringing more customers, selling more products. But Rogers, most of what they were interested in for their website was not to sell phones. They prefer actually to send people to the store. They wanted their website to be the best experience for people to be able to log into Rogers and pay their bill on their own, set their alert when they have too much data usage, renew their plan, upgrade to plans. Don't call me, don't chat with me, do it online, save me millions of dollars on a monthly basis. So we have a tendency to think of usability testing for bringing more sales, but it's not just for bringing more sales. It's actually serving all user goals. Very, very important. So conducting a heuristic evaluation will be the first input for your main project. It will be the first input for the usability testing, the second assignment that you have to do with your peers. You're going to use the same site. You will continue to use the heuristic evaluation, the findings, the user goals, and the areas that you think that are probably problematic. But you need to be open enough, and this is why we love usability testing. It will allow you to be flexible and be able to make changes as you do your testing as well. Now, we're going to talk about, there's a step before you actually do the real testing with the user that you should probably test your methodology, test the protocol, do a run-through. It's called the dry run, a run-through. And this is the same if you were to do a survey or a questionnaire. If you've done research, you've learned that you should actually show your survey to people that know nothing about it. Reveal a lot of little questions or questions mark that they may have about certain questions or the way that you reworded your questions on your survey. So the same apply for usability testing. There will be a point that you want to do a dry run to make sure that people are actually that your test is working, you understand your methodology, you understand the flow, the things you're going to say, but you will always have flexibility. So one of the questions is, can we assign common and separate pages for the website test in our groups? Okay, so let me see if I understood correctly the question, Lillian. So you're all going to disagree on the same website. Okay, so you should all agree on the same website, and then what you should do, let's look at the process, and let's look at the lab for this week. This will help you. You will follow the same process. Let me make sure that I'm sharing. Oh, I like the little check mark that you've used on the chat. I said I'm new to Blackboard, so I'm discovering what Blackboard does. I know very well Zoom. I've been living and breathing in Zoom. Okay, so one of the lab practice that I gave you for this week, and again, you should do your lab in the current week, and that will be my advice. Also, for the lab practice, if you have experience with heuristic evaluation, you don't necessarily have to do it, but I suggest that you do it. It will help you for your assignment. It will be, if anything, it will be a... So the lab practice that I give you is Metro. Metro is a grocery store. So I give you a bit of a steps. And do not visit Metro. So if you are going to use Metro, don't go to the website now, because there's a part of this assignment that I think is very important for you to do before you even look at their website. And obviously, it's a B2C consumer website, so we're going to be focusing on the B2C. Whether it's B2C, whether it's B2B, the process of doing usability testing is exactly the same. The framework methodology does not change. Just the user will change. The user goals will change. Maybe the knowledge about your product will change. But the process of usability testing is the same process regardless of which industry you're in. Same process regardless of which product you sell. It's the same framework regardless of if it's consumer to consumer or B2C, business to consumer to consumer, or business to business. So the goal of the lab practice is to just refresh and practice your 10 heuristics. So first of all, part 1, do not visit the website yet. Then if you notice, I haven't even really talked about the 10 heuristic at this stage. And then brainstorm. Think of maybe 3 main user goals that you would want to go in a grocery store. So perhaps, what do I want to do when I go to a grocery store? So I probably want to buy food. Maybe I want to return some items. Maybe I want to see where my item is. Maybe I want to see when is the next window available for my grocery, etc. Do they have delivery charges? There are a lot of things that I may want to do as a user. So think of user goal and just list them. Okay. So, and a very good way to start with a user goal is, what would a user would want to do, or the reasons why they would actually come to Metro in the first place. And then the part 2 is you want to visit the website, and then you want to go through and you want to use the first goal that you may have. You want to do it as if you were a user trying to intend to do it. Then I gave you some very, very specific goals within the goals. Find the price. I want you to find the price for a specific generic brand. Maybe I want you to find the price for to save the item to your grocery item. I want you to find more items to add to your order. And I want you to pay attention on how do you go from breads to milk to eggs to house cleaning products. I want you to find that experience and define what that experience is. It's really important, right? How do you navigate between different sections? Can I browse? Can I search? So all very, very important in the experience. And then I don't want you to buy, obviously. I don't want you to buy today. I want you to be able to come back to your cart and possibly place your order. Maybe your credit card was just not the right credit card. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you need to talk to your wife or your partner, whatsoever. And then I also tell you, you probably want to place your items on the Saturday. You want your delivery on Saturday because this is the only window that you might have. So you have users that may have a window specific. You may have users may not have a window specific. So this is all part of placing an order. And then some user will have very, very high expectation. And I think what I have listed is probably what you're going to find. How is the site delivering on this? At this point, you don't even have to think about necessarily about heuristic evaluation. And my advice to you is don't even think about trying to map the heuristic evaluation because that's going to get complex. But you could go now to heuristic evaluation if you want and start thinking about, okay, visual status. Does the system does a good job at telling me where I am or what is the system doing? Is the system preventing me from doing error? Is the system using my language? Now you can start taking each heuristic and go back to placing an order, going back to finding the price for just a generic brand, finding the price for a specific brand. And then you can relate to the heuristic and see how is this experience and how is this specific heuristic being supported in that flow, in that user goal. That is one way to do. And it's probably the simplest and the easiest because you're focusing on one user goal. As opposed to just look at the site and try to find ways, opportunities where the heuristics are not necessarily met. It's out of context. You should always anchor to the user goal. A user goal, one experience, and really, really make sure that you actually understand that journey. And then you can make note of what you see. Then you can use your heuristic to see how they're actually supporting those heuristic in that micro journey. Then you have goal 1 covered. Then you go to your goal 2. I give you goal 2 is to return an item. Maybe now your order was placed, okay? And you want to return an item. What is that experience? Can I find it? And the first thing that you should ask yourself is, can I find the goal? Can I find the goal of shopping? Can I find a even call that, which is calling or the labels, speaking the user language. Then you do this for all of your goals. So one of the questions that Lillian asked was, can we assign common and separate pages for the website? I would not look at it from a pages. I would try to look at it from a user goal. So that was probably my best piece of advice because a page is just a page, right? And then you can split them. Yeah, you could say you're going to do the place order. Maybe another team member will look at returning an item. Maybe someone else will look at what is the FAQ. Maybe people have frequently asking questions. Maybe there's the experience about contacting, wanting to contact Metro. So think of it as a user goal and try to split to the user goal, but find user goals that you think are the most relevant for Metro. And then from there, you can divide it up if you want, but that will be better than looking at a page. When you look at a page by page, each page may look pretty and each page may have the best heuristic, but if they're disjointed and if the experience is not in the sequence that the user will make sense to the user, it's not going to be a good experience. That's a big problem. That you need in context. So this is how you do heuristic evaluation. Okay. Then what you would do. So pick a site. You could pick Metro if you want. You can pick any site that you feel that is a site that you would be interested in for the entire session. And then you're going to end up with a list of items. And then you reconvene and talk as a team. And then you agree, or you just list all of the challenges that you found, okay? Now you're going to need to think about how do you map them to a specific heuristic as well. I'm not too picky about the specific heuristic. It's mapped to the right heuristic. As long as you come to a list of problems or challenges or opportunities that you think that we need to explore in the usability testing, at the end of the day, whether it's mapped to the visibility of the system or preventing errors or labeling, sometime, and I'm sure you've seen that, sometimes it's hard to really decide where that particular issue belongs. Does it really make a difference? Your stakeholder doesn't really care. He just wants to make sure that the experience is fixed. At the end of the day, he wants to make sure that We are telling users where they are. We are telling users we're speaking the user language. We are preventing errors. How do we do it? Is really your opportunity to also know that there's a challenge, and then we're gonna, and then at the when you've done your heuristic, again, the goal of the heuristic is not relating. We're just going to bring the insights to the team. You're going to bring insight and say, we think these are all challenges. And then we're going to move on to our usability testing. We're going to prepare our usability testing. We're actually going to validate with real users the big challenges that we thought that there were. So here's a question from Marion. So the 5 key screens you mentioned in the project page should be a part of the same sequential user action. The 5 key screens. What are the 5 key screens? Okay, this is the assignment. Screens, right? Yes. Okay. So let me just take a quick look at the assignments and see if I need to make some a little tweaks. I did not see that little level of detail, but thank you for pointing out to me, and I will just make sure the screens. I may make a change to the screens. I'm more interested about the user goal, the micro journey. What is the journey? What is the experience that we're trying to up the user goal that we are going to be focusing on? It's not going to be so much about the screen as well. So thank you. I made a note and I will review it. At the end of the day, what we want is we want to make sure that we have 3, 4, 5 user scenarios that we're going to be testing. And the user scenarios are the user goals. So, and again, if you have done a little bit of usability, if you have not done, one of the key elements in usability testing is using user goals. So you're going to give the participant goals to accomplish using the website. So if we go back to Metro, then perhaps the goal for Metro is to place an order, place a grocery list, and maybe in your scenario, you're going to give specifically to the participant. You're going to say, I want you to place I want you to make a grocery. I want you to add items, to buy items from your grocery list, and maybe you're going to give them specific item, bread, specific brand. Maybe you're going to give them generic. You're going to give them milk, eggs. You're going to find them. So you're giving them something to do. So you see how the conversation is different than the screen? Because all the screen can look pretty, but if they don't follow the user and support the user in his journey and the sequence, and the users are confused, then there's no point. They all have to work together. All the screen have to work together. So that's really, really important. I will review and I will make the changes where we need to make the changes. That said, though, so now by now you should have a team, or if you don't have a team, please let me know on the course messages, or go to the discussion board and create a discussion, or mention that you are looking for someone to actually join a team or create a team. That's going to be very important. The second thing, agree on a site, agree on a business or a site that you actually want to do, you want to spend time on for the entire semester. And start thinking about usability, heuristic, and you have the assignment as well that is due. I don't have the exact date in front of me, but the assignment will say what the due date is. Let's just look at it now. We're at it. So our heuristic evaluation due date is Feb 4th. And again, it's penalty for being late, but I doubt you guys will be late. So my ultimate goal from the heuristic evaluation is that you're going to have enough material to guide you for the usability testing and for the next assignment, which will be to do usability testing with your classmate as well. So we just need to make sure that we have enough representative goals or journeys that we're going to be testing as part of your first assignment. And that's really the ultimate goal of the heuristic evaluation. Okay, but I will make some changes if we need to make some changes. But you can start thinking about all of this as a team. at least agreeing on a product will be easy. Try to please to pick a website that is transactional. I want a website that, you know, I can do something as a customer. I can buy things, or I can sign up for things, or I can actually manage my accounts. Because as I said, we often think of usability or user testing or e-com as bringing more sales, but it's bringing more sales, but it's also self-serve businesses as well. So maybe contact us is an area or a user goal that you may want to be able to test. But people will want to contact you for multiple reasons. A customer who is thinking of buying, who wants to contact us, will have different challenges or reasons to wanting to contact you than someone who maybe has a vacation bought. So that is important. Where the customer is in the journey will define the user goal and maybe what it is that they're interested in. Are there more questions? And I will continue if there are no. And thank you for all the questions that you've asked so far. So the labs are just practice. But here's what I will do with the lab. I will randomly, I will pick teams and I will ask for the teams to share with me what they have come up with for the labs at any given time in the week. So what I may do is I may do it during the labs, or I may actually send an email to one of the team and ask to share what you have found, what it is that you came up with the lab. So I will want to hear, I will want to see. So make sure that you do have something either handy that you can actually share with me verbally what it is that you guys have come up with part 1 or part 2 of the lab practice. So either the practice is really there for you, but the lab. So the lab for this week, there's a lab practice that it's optional if you've done heuristic, but I think my feeling tells me that the way that you've done heuristic in the past is a bit different. So I would suggest that maybe you do the lab practice as a team, and then you have you make notes of your findings. It can be very high level, but so that you can speak about the lab practice and what you found in the lab practice. You don't have to give me anything, but if I choose your team, then you guys should be able to speak about what you did and what you found as a team for the practice. Now, the same thing with the lab. So for the lab pieces this week, what we really need to do is you need to form your team. I want you to pick a name. I want you to pick a company. And I want you to start working on your assignment number 1. So start working on it. I will look at the details. If there's something that I need to change, which I think I will, because it's not so much about screen, it's about user goal and the user goals. And then I want you to start thinking about the user and maybe the user types as well. So they're not being marked. The labs are not being marked. But in this case, though, there's a practice, and I may ask you at some point, maybe by email, if you can share, and maybe we're going to book some time in one of our next async sessions, like today. Today we're doing more of a lecture because there was so much foundation that we need to do. But the lab for the second part of the lab, or the second lab for this week, is about starting working on your assignment so that you guys can have time and think about it. So I hope that answered the question. Now, this is just a refresher. I will not talk in details about the heuristic evaluation, but there are tens of them. I put them in a deck. The deck is available for you. So you should use the heuristic evaluation as well when you do your assignment. It goes in great length, but you've all done the heuristic evaluation before. Hopefully, if you haven't, then do the practice. Read more about. Definitely go through the deck and practice, or talk to your colleagues, and perhaps you've joined a team that people have done it, or talk to your coach as well. And if you do have any questions, if you're not really clear, let me know. I will be more than happy to help as well. And then the reporting of a heuristic evaluation. So again, I'd like for you to review, but it has to be short. So the reporting for me, I'm very much I want things to be very practical. So I want you, obviously, to maybe say, here were our user goals for a heuristic, and then here's what we found for placing an order user goals. We found the following challenges, and maybe you're going to put them in order of priority. But I'm very much about reports that are short, reports that will be actionable and will be to the points. But I want to know, what are the key challenges with a specific experience? It has to be short. It has to be actionable. So either someone will read the report and it will say, great, placing an order has some challenges with maybe the way that we actually add items to our cart. We may not know that what the solution is, but at least we know that adding items to the cart are a problem. And here's maybe why we think is a problem. Maybe the second problem that we found is when I enter my credit card to pay, it's not allowing me to tab through the field. So maybe that's one example. Then I would report it and I would say this, and then I would take all of my items that I would say, which one is high priority, which one is not so high priority, which one is low priority. That's more difficult to do. But I want them to be very to the point and succinct so that I have a list of things that I know that I probably need to fix, or that I need to sit down with a team and think about better solutions or ways that we can fix and we can solve that as well. So, but really, you try to stay away from solutions from heuristic evaluation, but to really say, we think that these are problems. And then what you're going to be able to do for your intent and purpose for your heuristic evaluation is you will say, we found these following challenges, and we would like to actually test these challenges through usability testing. So I'm not interested in solutioning because we're not going to go with a new solution. So really, I want you, and I will put that into the assignment if need be, I want to have, at the end of heuristic evaluation, I want you to have 3 to 5 goals for user goals, what the challenges you think are with each of the goals. And then we're going to use those goals, and we're going to structure our usability testing according to those goals. And we will make sure that in your usability testing, you are going to be touching areas of the screens that you think that those problems are happening. And we're going to validate those problems if there are real problems with the users or not. That's our ultimate goal of the heuristic evaluation. So it's probably going to be lighter than what we've done, but I'm not really interested in the heuristic evaluation per se. Our goal is to be able to have something that we can actually test in the usability testing. And then we're going to do testing with our classmates. And then the final project will be to do usability testing with real or prospect or potential users of the site that you will use. So it's like assignment number 2 will be a dry run of us testing how we're good at doing usability testing before we actually do it with real participants. Okay? So that is a topic of report. And then we are almost at the end for tonight's session. And then that will give you some time to meet your teams if you have a team. Think of a site that you actually want to work on for the semester and start thinking about the users. Maybe the users that you want to pick, the user goals. Like, what will be the user goals for your website as well? Perhaps it's B2C or it's a B2B site. I don't know. But it's probably easier if you do B2C. And maybe you're going to think about, when I say user or specific users, you can think of which customer journeys or which stages they are in their experience with the brand as well. So the updated document, I will do my best to update it between now and tomorrow. But you have enough at this point to start thinking about the web, your team, which site. Start thinking about, go to the site and then start thinking about the user, like the user stages. Is this someone who wants to buy your product? Is this someone who already has a product? And think of the high-level user goals that you think that most people would want to do on the business that you are. So I would say as a team, you can almost, for your assignment, you should think of the questions about in the lab practice. You should think about the same questions as a team. Let me just show you what I think those same questions are. So between now and the time that I actually update the assignment, as a team, you should be able to think about the brainstorming, so you're gonna have a site. Now the exercise was Metro, but you're gonna have a site that you will think of. And then I want you to start thinking about the main user goals. Why would people go to that site and that brand? Start thinking about those user goals. And I will tell you where they are. Are they pre-purchase? Are they purchasing? Are they an existing customer? Make a list of goals that you think that are highly visited, that are highly impactful. The goals and that they either bring money or they will save money. Because we want to have an impact, right? So I think you'll have enough to be able to do this, and then I will be able to update the assignment. And I want to make sure that we have, at the end of the assignment, we have enough material to be able to go forward with our usability testing and where we're going to be focusing our usability testing. So as you notice, I moved away from pages to actually user goals. And we should probably have 3, 4, or 5, maybe 4 to 5 user goals. And then we're gonna define and design a usability testing around those goals. It's not so much about pages. Great. Let's see if there's anything else in the deck, but I think we're covered the actual deck and presentation for this week. So I'm pretty happy that we went this far. And again, this week was a bit of an introduction, but the heuristic evaluation is very, very important. And I had a little in practice. So, and that was more for me to maybe go to the Roots Canada, and maybe think loud and show you what I would do, how we do a heuristic evaluation. Do you guys want to see me in action and see me go to Roots Canada, or you guys want to be on your own at this point? Or I could just record it. I could keep going. I could record it. Okay. Wow. You guys are so keen. This is so much fun. Okay, so let's go to Roots Canada. Before I even go to Roots Canada, let's have fun together. Okay, you type, if I can have the class or some people from the class, and thank you for being so engaged. Maybe you want to use, this is a whiteboard. Now you, and maybe you want to type in some user goals. Why do we think people go to Roots? Why do we think people would go? Someone would want to go to Roots Canada. Yes, buy sweatpants. Oh my God. Do you want to know a funny, I don't know who typed in the buying sweatpants, but I know the chief marketing officer and customer experience officer at Roots. He's a friend of mine. He was saying that the biggest selling item, what do you think is the biggest selling item at Roots Canada with COVID? That was you, Anya. Sweatpants. He said, Yves, sweatpants is the most popular items. We all know why, right? We wear nice shirts, but we wear probably sweatpants, shorts. It's very, very cozy, comfy. So it is. Yes, buying gift cards. You see, and buy footwear. Awesome. And I don't know who said footwear, but you or whoever, you think of footwear, but maybe someone thinks of a very specific footwear. Maybe something think of a specific brands, boots brands, okay? So this is, I teach information architecture, categories. How do we define category? It becomes very, very fun and very complex. Yes, I want to make a return. Let's go to Roots. And these are all very good examples of goals, user goals. You're not giving me something that has to do with a task. It's really, I have a goal. I want to do this. And it's probably the highest element in what user would want to do. And then, of course, when they're looking at buying sweatpants, there are going to be a bunch of things that they'll be trying to do. And that is also very, very important when you do your heuristic evaluation is, are the things in the order that the user will be expecting? So, okay, so let's take make a return, okay? So when I want to make a return, these are all very good ideas. You guys are awesome. If I want to place a return, I've erased them. They're good. So let's think about making a return. If I want to make a return, let's assume that I'm going to Roots Canada. So what are some of the things that I would expect? What would you expect to see as a user to make a return? Like, do we expect something that will say make a return or returns or order? Like, I don't know. Contact info. Okay, so someone says contact info. What else? What do we think a user will ask? Me, I think it would be return order item or return. I think I need to see return item. Okay, great. We have order number step by step. But what do we think that the first label will be as a user? What do we think the user will be interested in seeing before they even go to roots? And they're trying to place a return or return an item. Yes, return policy, all very, very good. What else? So we said order number, return item, return policy, step by step. Yes, they will probably going to be a step by step. There'll be instruction on how to do return, how to do the return. Yes, yes, yes. So perhaps maybe there's going to be how to return, right? Now we're almost doing, we're structuring a bit of information architecture, or we're trying to do card sorting. You see, this is fun. Order. So we think there's going to be order number. Maybe you're going to need to give me your order number. I don't know how to return. I am just trying to do things and map things. Yes, they're probably going to be a step-by-step for all instruction, return policy, contact info. Yes, there might be some contact info, address. Yeah, maybe there's going to be addresses. Maybe there's going to be refound. There's going to be a bunch of things. Okay, so let's see how. The first thing that I suggest for you is you do this as a team or you do it individually. Then we're going to go and say, I think, and I don't know if you agree, but it sounds like somewhere this little world like is something that return seems to be very consistent, right? Or maybe there's refund. Maybe I want to refund. Let's see. But again, we're guessing at this point, but we've seen a lot of sites. So now what I do is I'm actually going at it. I'm going to roots and I'm looking for return, trying to place a return. How can I find? Great. Welcome to roots. Continue shopping. Awesome. This is probably the only thing at this point that I'm interested in. Okay. So I'm an existing customer and I'm at a very different stage in my journey. Someone is drawing. I am looking for return. I'm not buying return. And I'm actually very much, I'm going to share the roots. Okay, I'm looking for returns. So far, I've seen nothing. I'm getting visual scent. I actually get a visual scent. And I would say when I look at this, yes, I can see woman, I can see man, but I'm looking for return. That's the only thing that I'm very much interested in. Now, I don't see anything at this point, okay? I probably, myself, what am I doing now? If for those of you that have done usability testing, there's a very powerful technique that we use with user that we ask them to do. What am I doing? Actually telling you what it is that I'm looking for. Does anybody know the name of that particular technique? It's very powerful, and that's a very powerful technique in usability testing. We ask the participants to do that all the time. Think aloud, thinking aloud. I'm telling you what I'm actually thinking about. That is one of the power of usability testing. That is the power, and that's why I really like moderated testing, because I'm there. I can hear. I can actually even ask clarity at some point. But I will let them go, but we're going to learn more about what to do and what not to do. I'm looking for return. I want to return. Oh, return policy. Great. Do you see how much time it took me though? I was really looking for something at the top here. I was looking for something that will speak about return. I was very close to maybe go to my account offers, but maybe I've never signed up for an account, but maybe I have. But I'm searching, I'm guessing. But I scroll, and then I've seen return policy. It's kind of tiny, but at least I'm here. So I will just click on it. I will want to know what the return policy is. But I'm also want to return. I really have an item. Okay, so I'm going to continue to scroll down. This is really not adding more value to me. This big image is doing little for me as a business, but I'm kind and I will continue. I actually really want to return my item. So one of the questions says, you need to know about your user, how motivated they are. I'm highly motivated. Maybe I have an order of $75, and $75 is a lot of money. So our policy, how to return, a holiday return policy. I don't want a policy. I just want to return. So I want to return my item. please know that we're unable to process exchange by mail at this time. If you would like to exchange an item, please send your item in by mail for return, and then reorder your new item. Alternatively, you can hold on to the item until a store. Okay. So I can return by mail, and maybe that's what I want to do. Purchase mail in a Roots location. Qualifying items to Roots can be returned or exchanged with them. For store location, okay, I would probably go on and more and really see what it is that I can do to return. Now, my purchase made in the Roots locations. So you see, there's a lot happening about what. There's a lot of reading. I think Roots could do a better job of kind of guiding me and say, here's really what you want to do. Here's how you can do it. I think there's a lot of reading, and I feel like we need to probably pause, step back, click here to find a store near you. So they've said you can't really return anything, hold on to it, or you can mail it. Okay, so how do I mail it? Purchase made online, ship purchases, how to return a gift. I do think that there's a better way that you could probably do something. Now, from even finding, this is what you would probably note. I would make note of this, and I would probably spend a little bit more time if I were not teaching to maybe really trying to understand. But again, you have to think about yourself. Will the user take all of that time to do all of this? Probably, maybe not. Maybe they're actually going to chat. Maybe they're going to talk to someone. But I don't think that this is a good use of someone's time. Not only for our agents, but as a customer, I think that there's something that we could probably do better to help them. Now, what I would probably do as well is I would probably look at others. How are others handling returns? I would look at their competition. I would look at any other flows and see how do they facilitate returns in the COVID. And is there something that we think that is better aligned with the user needs? Are they making it simpler? But there was a lot of reading. First of all, to findability. So findability, I think, is a bit of a challenge. And because it's a top goal, it's a top high-level goal, I think it deserves to have something that talks about return. Then I would probably look at, let's look at Indigo. How does Indigo do about return? So I'm sticking to return. I'm just sticking to the return goal. And then I will exhaust everything that I can about return when it comes to Indigo. You can't really see return. Okay, great. So maybe what I can do is I can share Indigo, and then I will move on. I would move on to sites that I know that obviously or most likely have also a return policy, and then I will move on. So this is looking at benchmark. Why do I do this? It's because this consumer have probably purchased, or they've purchased from other people that actually will accept or not accept returns. Do I see anything on Indigo that talks to me about return? Order status, your account, my order status. I'm looking for return. I don't have a keyword that really speaks for return either on Indigo. As a customer, why would I go to accounts, order status? I've already know. Why would I go to Reward Center? My account. Why would I go to my account? I'm really looking for that word that I'm not seeing that I can find. So there's also a findability. I would go on and I would go on until I have fully understood what the return journey is and how I can actually place a return. So maybe clicking on my account and offers for Indigo is for our friends at Roots was also the things that I had to do. So you see that Indigo is not really delivering better either, right? And then I would move on to my next goal if I wanted to move to my next goal. Maybe Contact Us for Roots Canada has something about return. So a few of us said I would maybe go to my Contact Us. But again, I would make note of, now I go to Contact Us, and then I will see if there's something about return. When I go Contact Us, give us feedback. No. Where do I go Contact Us even? For Roots, my account info, sales, about us. See, I don't have anything about Contact Us too. That I would make note. That's probably another big goal, right? They're making it difficult for me to get in touch with them. Maybe it's intentional, but just keep in mind there's a risk. And then you would probably make note of that risk. The risk is they may be pissed off. the customer will be pissed off and just not going to help them. But making it difficult for anybody to contact a business is not good business. My accounts sign up order, I have no way that I can actually contact them unless it's in the middle. But I'm going fast, but that's how fast people will go. Pickup store, delivery options, returns. Okay, you see how returns, there was another option for returns, but it's very, very, at the very, very bottom. And it's the same place. Oh, to contact us. So I would probably make note of contact us. And I would say contact us probably has, we have an opportunity. If contact us, we think is a very, very important goal. It's hidden. It's kind of hidden in some sections. Now, Root Canada may say it's intentional. Well, great. It works. Hard to find. But at what cost? That would be something that you would probably want them to think about, right? And this would be a very good example that you would want to find out with Roots Canada. How many people really contact us on a daily basis? Why do they contact us? Is there something that could be answered online? But it's not right now answered online because people cannot even find it and what that is. So you see how one thing brings more questions? Sometimes looking at data will bring some answers, but that is real life. So there's no one-way street when you do usability testing. Sometimes it will be us doing the heuristic evaluation as we've done it. It will bring more questions. Sometimes it will be the data that will tell you, why don't we have a lot of people going to contact us? Well, guess what? It's really hard to find. Okay, so now you look at where is it? And then you think, well, where do other put contact us? And if contact us is a goal, a very, very important user goal, which I think is, then why don't we have a menu navigation somewhere that talks about contact us? For this, then you will look at benchmark, what people expect. And I would be inclined, just based on what I know from the experience, return, contact us should be somewhere in here at the top as well. But instead they have Afterpay, here's Cozy, Gurn, more. So, but these are all business decisions that Roots has made. We don't know why, we don't know. But we know that we could bring some insights to them. So that is the goal of your heuristic evaluation. And if we come to, we had a goal of looking at return. How do we place return? How do we contact us? What is the experience of contacting us? How do I make maybe a purchase? How do I look for a specific sweater? Or how do I look for a sweater? And if you have, 3, 4, or 5 goals, but I will update the assignment. And then we know that we have a list of what we think are challenges and why we think that these are problems. Why do we even think that these are important goals as well? I will be happy with the heuristic evaluation because I know that we're going to have enough material to focus on for the next assignment in the usability testing. So I don't know if this is real life, this is real, and this is the only way we can go about this. If you notice, I have not used anything that says the site is too busy. I haven't used anything that says this is very necessarily confusing. I'm focusing on a user goal. And if you notice, everything around doesn't matter. Everything here, the menus, what I see, doesn't matter. When you know that you're looking specifically for return or placing order or contact us and you can't find, everything here doesn't necessarily matter. All of what matters for me at this point is to be able to find that little trigger word, that keyword that will make me click because that's what I want. But I haven't said it's too busy. What is too busy? The page looks pretty. It's a pretty site, but when you start using it, you start navigating, you can't really find what you want. Again, I'm not criticizing Roots. It's a great brand. It's a great site. And this is the first time that I go in, and it's so easy for us to put a lot of, have an opinion about it. But there's a lot that happens and behind the scene. But at least we're going to have enough meat to be able to explore with real user. So I hope you enjoyed the little live demo when it comes to Roots. That concludes this week's presentation, and that was week number 1. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are happy and excited and looking forward to our next sessions. And then what you can do, so between now and the beginning of next week. So next week, again, remember, our week starts on Wednesday. So you have now in between Wednesday to do the practice if you want as a team, or go right into your assignment start working about your assignment, but follow the logic that I have just followed, that I have given you for the heuristic practice, the lab practice. Focus on user goals. It's not about pages, it's about the user goals. And let's come with a good list of issues that we know, and then I will update the assignment just to make sure that it's accurate and updated. And then we're going to have something good that we're going to be able to then use for the next of our classes. So for next week, for week number 2, our topic, next week we're going to go in more detail about what is usability, a little bit more about it. If I have a team of students that wanted to volunteer to just introduce, you have 5 minutes. I've already talked a lot about it. It's not marked, but it's just to be fun. You guys are welcome, and then there's a discussion board thread that talks about signing up for the weekly topic pair discovery, first come, first serve. So I thank you. Now you have a few more minutes if you want to discuss with your teams about your projects, your brand. It's up to you, and I can stay around. I can be online, or I can stay around now. If you guys have anything that you want to ask, you can ask now, or you can ask on the chat. If not, then I will close the session. I wish you a good Friday tomorrow, a good weekend, and we'll see you on Wednesday. And in between, if you have any questions, please use the class, the course message, and remember, today was an exception at 3:30. Usually it will be at 1:30. So thank you so much. I look forward to getting to know more of you as well.